sounding very Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad-padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashyakrito Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Namah Pranavarthaya Shuddha Jnanaikamurtaye Nirmalaya Prashantaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Bhadram Karne Vishunyam Devaha Bhadram Pashyemakshabhir Yadatraha Sthirairangai Shushtvagam Sastanubihi Vishema Devahitan Yadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vriddhashavaha Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedaha Swasti na Starkshyo Arishtanemihi Swasti no Brahaspatir Dadatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Tvam gunatrayatitaha Tvam avastatrayatitaha Tvam dehatrayatitaha Tvam kalatrayatitaha. All this says atitaha. From the three gunas, atitaha, kala atitaha, sharira atitaha, avastha atitaha. Atita, if you know Hindi, you will know atita is past. It probably comes from ati in gatau dhatu, in dhatu. What is gone past, what is beyond. So what does it mean when it says gunatraya atitaha, kalatraya atitaha, dehatraya atitaha, avastatraya atitaha? If one can visualize Brahman, Om, as Ekameva Advitiyam, it's very clear that that Brahman has to be I. Everything else is not in the same order, not in the same plane, not of completely different order of reality, of existent order. Not self-existent order, but not swatantra, but paratantra, dependent existence. And what are they dependent on? That's Satyam, Brahman. So if guna comes because of Maya and everything else is therefore guna. So now you say gunatraya atita, the three gunas, this has nothing to do with. Cannot be contained by, limited by, is beyond the three gunas. I am beyond the three gunas. I am beyond the three kalas. We saw that. It is not a question of saying past stretches in this way, future stretches that way infinitely, but very idea of kala doesn't come into the picture at all. Time is not that we know. Time, that we talk about infinity of time, is within the Mithya Jagat. It's created. Same thing with space, same thing with avastatrayatita. The cycle of three avastatrayam happens only within the samsara. Same thing with Dehatrayatita. Where did the Dehatrayatita come from? The Traya comes from, where does it come from? The origin is ignorance, from which apparently this Sthula Sukshma Sharira manifest. But we are talking about Satyam Jnanam, pure knowledge, no place for any ignorance. Therefore, the word Atita must be understood in all of these contexts, meaning nothing to do with that understanding of Brahman as I has nothing to do with anything in this Jagat. But everything in the Jagat is nothing but that Satya. What a magical equation. Gunatrayatita, avastatrayatita, etc. becomes the very basis for understanding the Satya. This Mithya, when we understand the Mithya Jagat, we understand, then Satyam becomes easier to understand. Having said all this, Kalatriyatita, Avastatriyatita, Titaha, Atitaha, suddenly introduces one more, which does not seem directly related to this. Tvam Mooladhara Stitoti Nityam. What is Mooladhara? Because this entire Jagat is nothing but the manifestation of the energy, for want of a better word, which is Brahman. All matter is nothing but energy. We can visualize that the whole power is transmitted in some form in every jiva, every living being and non-living being. Non-living is not possible to perceive. But in all sentient beings, we can see this power, in this energy in some form. And because we have this difficulty of focusing on something which is Gunatrayatita, Avastatrayatita, all that which is not, that's the best we can say about it. I'm still sitting on this side and trying to visualize that Satyam Brahman. How do I do that? One of the methods that we use is meditation. You meditate upon what Shastra says, how the Guru unfolds it, all the words that are used. I've been using words like energy, because we understand energy. We understand Jnanam, but to say that this is the very basis of Jnanam. We understand Satyam in our own way. But to understand Satyam as the only thing. How do we do this? One option, like I said, is meditate. What do you meditate on? How do you understand Brahman, which is all negated from of everything that we think we know? So we think of it in the form of some kind of energy. So the whole Sharira, which is the expression of that energy, is seen as the energy. Then we have all kind of power centers, if you want. Some power centers we recognize within the Sharira, within the body. And this body, Bhagavan in the 13th chapter calls Kshetra, the field of consciousness. That consciousness is expressed in the form of some power. That power in its infinity is with Parameshwara. But we experience that power in some form within the Sharira. Sometimes we experience it easily and directly. Sometimes we see this expressed in very funny ways, very difficult to understand ways, not funny. You've seen many of you who have gone on pilgrimages, whether you go to Vaishno Devi or Kedarnath or wherever. It's a very tough, physically tough route, all of them. Now, every day the administration make it easier and easier. Now you can take a helicopter and go. But the whole thing is very tough. I have seen Vaishno Devi, for example, is a 12-kilometer climb and quite steep. 70-year-old men climbing. People go to Mansarovar, go to Kailash. Where is that hidden power? Where is that coming from? Is it some kind of a lever that you get extra power from somewhere? Right? This is a very interesting question one child asked. He was studying lever in school. And he came back and asked his father, I have certain power within my body. This big stone I can't lift. With no extra energy coming from anywhere, if I use a long rod of some kind, and by lever, I'm able to lift it. It's the same stone, weighs the same amount. There's no extra energy coming from somewhere. I'm the same person. I don't have any extra energy. How did I lift it? Now try explaining to a child in the 5th or 6th or 7th standard. There is power in somewhere. We don't know where the power is. So these treks people go on, somehow that extra power from within, I'm talking about pure physical power, coming from somewhere. So this power has been said to be in 7 points in the, actually starting at the base of the spine. Base of the spine is called Mula Chakra or Muladhara. And that is the power center. Then there are other centers. Swadhishthanam is the abdomen, in the abdomen. Manipura in the navel. Anahata in the heart. Vishuddhi in the throat. In the middle eyebrows, where we put the bindi, is called Agnya. And in the brain, Sahasrara. All this power is there. So when we visualize that Brahman as pure Shakti energy, that energy we can feel in ourselves. So one of the methods for meditation is to focus on the Muladhara, Mula Chakra, and visualize the energy there. Now, in the middle of all this, like I said, Atita suddenly introduces one this thing saying, but it is really bringing into the idea of Shakti, power. You visualize the power of Brahman without any movement, without any alteration. That power to create, that power to sustain, and that power to eventually do samhara. All the three powers. Everything in the Jagat we know, we don't know. That's Shakti. We attribute to Maya. Maya Shakti. Because Brahman by itself cannot create anything. But we know that Jagat is there. Therefore, we don't say that Jagat is created. We say Jagat is manifest. By the power of Maya, which is said to have all the three powers, creation, sustenance, and resolution. This Brahman is also Shakti Trayatmakaha. Tvam Shakti Trayatmakaha. That Shakti also, although he is Brahman, it is not the way we think of Shakti. That is why Shakti is seen as the feminine component of Brahman. Brahman doesn't have any components. It is avyaya. But conceptually, it is said that that power comes from Shakti. All Devi forms are worshipped as Shakti. And the Shakti is one of creation, sustenance, and resolution. That is at the level when we see the whole creation. And we are trying to understand the creation. And we say there is Shakti of Maya, which itself is non-separate from Brahman. But Brahman is not Maya, which is the starting point for everything in the Jagat, which is Trigunatmika, and therefore everything is Trigunatmika. As the Shakti Trayam. That Shakti is also manifest in many forms in all of us. In two different ways. One is we also create, sustain, and things resolve into you all the time. But how does it happen? The another Shakti Trayam, Ichha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, and Kriya Shakti. Everything we do within the samsara starts with an Ichha. Even if you look at the creation of this Jagat, Taittiriya Upanishad, Sukamayata, Akamayata. You just now said Brahman doesn't have any kama, but you say Sukamayata. That's a difference between creation and manifestation. Only to understand, we'll negate everything later. And having Asrijata created the Jagat because and entered into the Jagat in the form of whatever manifestation there is. Just to understand that everything is nothing but Ishvara. We also have the same Ichha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, and Kriya Shakti. I said this is Shakti is seen as in the form of Devi at the level of Ishvara. In fact, in Lalita Sahasranamam, there is one definition of Lalita which says Ichha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Swarupini. Same Shakti. That Shakti, Ichha Shakti, is also Ishvara. As manifestation we see in each jiva, as long as it is within the framework of dharma. Therefore, Bhagavan says, Dharma viruddho kamosmi. Dharma aviruddha kamaha aham. That Shakti is also manifest in human beings and in all other living beings. Interestingly, human beings are the ones which have predominantly Kama Shakti, Ichha Shakti, and Jnana Shakti, and Kriya Shakti. Then we may do, we may not do. Animals seem to have predominantly Kriya Shakti only. They are pre-programmed. They are more focused on the Kriya Shakti. This power of Ishvara, of which we see bits and pieces in our own selves, is now invoked in Lord Ganesha by saying, Tvam Shakti Trayatmakaha. We've seen earlier also that we are using a form of Lord Ganesha, for whom there are a lot of stories available for us to imagine and visualize. How wonderful Lord Ganesha is, how he recognizes that the entire Jagat is nothing but Ishvara, which are his parents. All those stories are there, which makes it easier for us to relate to Lord Ganesha. But all this is only to understand this one thing. Everything here is Ishvara. Sarvam khalvidam brahma. Irpadalam irevane. Once that becomes clear, a lot of things fall in place. So, Shakti Trayatmakaha. That Lord Ganesha, in the form of the Shakti that creates, sustains, and resolves this world back into itself, and manifests in the various forms of Shakti that we see. Then he says, Tvam yogino dhyayanti nityam. Yogis constantly think of you. Tvam yoginaha dhyayanti nityam. Now each word here is loaded with meaning. Tvam. Who is Tvam? Lord Ganesha. But more than Lord Ganesha, Parameshwara in the form of Lord Ganesha, to whom I am now praying. Tvam. Yogina. Who is a yogi? It's a word which has many meanings. In fact, the Gita itself is used in several meanings in the Gita. one who is always linked to me, to Ishvara, is a yogi. By that definition, a yogi is constantly thinking of Ishvara. What does that mean? Dhyayanti nityam. One who is able to see Ishvara in everything. Yogi, one of the best definitions I have seen is in the 6th chapter, where Bhagavan says, Sanyoga Viyoga Yoga Sangitam. Yoga is defined as that which is detached from attachment to what causes dukkha. Dukkha Sanyoga Viyoga Sangitam. Yoga Sangitam. What causes ignorance? Or what causes dukkha? Is samsara. What causes samsara is ajnanam. And how do you get rid of that? Our problem is we are constantly in world consciousness, jagat consciousness, object consciousness. All objects are real. All objects are real because we are starting with the fallacious statement of real to whom? To I, where I've already thought of I in the form of, in the line of body, mind, sense complex. Therefore, our whole outlook is one of object consciousness. Now you can elevate this to Parameshvara consciousness. How? When one is able to see that everything here is nothing but Parameshvara. Even my body consciousness can be converted to Ishvara consciousness. We put this, one of the reasons we put this tilak on the forehead is to remind ourselves that even this body is the temple of Ishvara. I keep saying that to see Ishvara in something which is pleasing is relatively less difficult. But everything is Ishvara, to understand that, including the fellow who is inimical to you, who wants to pull you down. There also you see Ishvara. A horrific animal also you see Ishvara. This can come only through understanding. You see Srishti. In the Srishti, there are things which look frightening, which look disgusting, all the negative emotions. Yet, they are Ishvara Srishti. So one is able to see that Ishvara in everything. Then this nanatvam is gone, because in every variety of things that we see only one Ishvara. Therefore, in several Upanishads, you will say, he who sees the variety is still struggling. And he who is able to see the oneness in all of them will gain this knowledge. He was able to see oneness in every individual. Then you can say, I am non-different from you, because you're both Ishvara. Sarvabhutastam sarvabhutani cha atmani. Ikshate, he who sees this, gains this knowledge. So, yoginaha dhyayanti nityam. As a human being, whether we know it or not, whether we like it or not, the fact that we are constantly looking for that link with Ishvara. As a child, we look for that in the mother. Mother becomes, if not Ishvara, maybe to begin with Ishvara, mother is Ishvara, and later becomes the connecting conduit. Later, when that also drops, we are still looking for the same thing. We are searching. We don't want to be alienated from Ishvara. Understanding that I am Ishvara is different, is much more. But even to stay connected with Ishvara is what we're looking for. Every human being is looking for. And that will come only when we understand the nature of the Jagat, of the universe, as being non-separate from Ishvara. We cannot just drop the universe. You can't. You have to interact with the universe all the time. You can't drop the body identification also completely. That is required for us to operate in this Jagat. If not the entire Jagat, at least what is close to one physically, emotionally, intellectually, one links with that. But if one can open one's mind and look at the totality, samashti, in every form, samashti of samashti, as Ishvara, that becomes easier. Without losing sight of the universality of Ishvara, we see Ishvara in everything. And by doing that, the yogi is able to detach from the attachment within the Jagat, the cause for all dukkha. So this Nityam word also is important. It is not that I pray in the morning for half an hour, I pray in the night for half an hour to Ishvara, and therefore I'm connected. You are connected, no doubt about it. But what here is saying is, if you are a yogi, then this connection is all the time because you see Ishvara in everything. There is nothing other than Ishvara. That is why when people say Irupadala Merevane, they go around saying, how much they understand what they're saying, I don't know. Everything is Ishvara. Every Devata I pray to is Parameshvara. I've created so many Devatas. I meaning as human beings who are trying to understand Parameshvara, who want to latch on to some form of Ishvara, and through that form, reach out to Parameshvara, the one and only, the one without form, one which is nothing but the order in this Jagat, one who is the Jagat Karanam. I want to reach out by hanging on to something which I can identify with. So this yogi who is constantly aware of Ishvara, because everything he sees, he smells, he touches, he hears, everything he sees Ishvara. We also see Ishvara as the Jagat Karanam. And therefore, the Jagat being non-separate from Ishvara. Then each aspect of this creation, sustenance, and resolution, we see a form. But the understanding is that all of them are, although we see different forms, we attribute different powers to each of these, they are only manifestation of one aspect of Ishvara. So now we're looking at Lord Ganesha and saying Lord Ganesha is Parameshvara manifest in this form with a big stomach and a trunk and an elephant head. But this form that I'm praying to is Parameshvara, and I see Parameshvara in three powers: the power to create, the power to sustain, and the power to resolve back into itself. To each one of these, I give another form. But I recognize that Ishvara, to whom I am praying in the form of Lord Ganesha, also in the form of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Therefore it says, Tvam Brahma, Tvam Vishnu, Tvam Rudra. Although I have given different forms to these, and the moment you give a form, there are a whole lot of stories that come in each of these. There are stories of Brahmaji, there are stories of Vishnu, there are stories of Lord Shiva. There are stories where Lord Shiva goes for help to Vishnu, Vishnu goes for help to Brahmaji. Brahmaji is also called Prathamaja, firstborn. Because in the creation of the Jagat, the creator we ascribe to Brahmaji. But this Lord Ganesha, who is nothing but Parameshvara, we also recognize as the same Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshvara. Tam Brahma, Tam Vishnu, Tam Rudra. We also recognize space. We recognize what gives life, what sustains life. All of it as only Ishvara. The sun and moon are seen as life givers and life preservers. Without the sun, there is no life. That's why scientists are looking elsewhere for another planet where there may be life. Among other things, they look for a sun. That heat and light, which is the power of Agni in the sun, we're looking for that all the time. Therefore, we pray to Lord Sun. Lord Sun also we pray to in the form of Jnanam, light. Therefore, not only Tam Brahma, Tam Vishnu, Tam Rudra, Tam Agni, Tam Agni, Tam Vayu. Agni is a form. Vayu doesn't even have a form. These are powers we recognize. Without Agni, there is no life. Without Vayu, there is no life. Therefore, this Lord Ganesha, Ishvara manifesting of Lord Ganesha is also the same as Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra, Agni, Vayu, and Surya, and Chandra. All of them are what? Brahma. We try and recognize All of them are nothing but that one unchanging Brahman. These are only forms and forms created by humans. The only Parameshvara is formless. This entire Jagat we also define physically as Bhuhu, Bhoha and Swaha. In Gayatri Mantra, we have this Akriti, Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha. Not part of the Gayatri Mantra. Om is expanded, saying everything is Om. Bhuhu Bhuva Swaha. Bhuhu is Bhuhu Bhuva Swaha, the three types of lokas. Bhuhu is the earth. Swaha is the celestial lokas. And Bhuvaha is everything in between. Therefore, Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha. Om is the same as Bhuhu Bhuva Swaha. All of them are nothing but Om. Therefore, Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha. Like I said in the Gayatri Mantra, the mantra is Om Tat Savitur, but we also use this in between as to expand on the idea of Om. That Om is everything. So this Parameshvara, whom we pray to in the form of Lord Ganesha, is Tam Brahmatam, Vishnutam, Rudrastam, Indrastam, Agnistam, Vayustam, Suryastam, Chandramastam, Brahmavobhas. Everything is true. If you say that we have 33,000 crore devatas, all of them nothing but Ishvara. This is something which somebody from outside the system would find very difficult to understand. And therefore, their point of view, your idol worshippers, your stone worshippers. No, in that stone, you have invoked Parameshvara. We are only Parameshvara worshippers. Parameshvara is formless. Therefore, this Ganapathi, we see in Ganapathi Ishvara, and therefore great Ganapathi. We see in every form of Ishvara the same. One could say somebody is praying, let us say, to Indra, could say the same thing. I am praying to Lord Parameshvara in the form of Indra. And he can say Tam Brahma, Tam Vishnu, Tam Rudra, Tam Indra, Tam Agnistam, Vayustam, everything. It is the same. But here, since it is a Ganapathi Upanishad, prayer is to Parameshvara in the form of Lord Ganapathi. We also have a special mantra, Mula mantra, for every Ishvara that we can pray to. Every form of Ishvara we can pray to. So for Mahaganapati, there is one is, you heard Om Gang Ganapataye Gang. That itself is a prayer. And that mantra is also explained in this Upanishad. In the next verse, Ganadim Purvamucharya Varnadim Sadanantaram Anuswar Parataraha Ardhendulasitam Tarena Ruddham Etattava Manuswarupam. the mantra which gives rupa to Lord Ganesha in the form of Gam, Om Gam. Ganadim Purva Mucharya. You start with the consonant G. You can't pronounce the consonant without a vowel. Gakara. Mantra starts with Gakara. It's the first sound. Adi sound. Ga is the Adi sound. And that sound is followed by Varna. First letter of the Varna. Gakara followed by Akara. Urvamucharya Gakara. Tadanantaram Varna. So you get Ga. Then you have Anuswara Parataraha. Anuswara follows. Anuswara here is Makara. And then it is followed by Ardhe Endu Lasitam. Ardha Bindu. Put that thing on top, no? To give it a nasal sound. Gang. That follows. And all this is included in Om. Om is starts with Om Gang. Om is everything. This is the Rupam. Etat Tava Anuswarupam. This Bindu is a very interesting thing. In the Gita also we have in two places, if I remember, the Bindu is used. One I remember in the 4th chapter, Shraddhavang Labhate Jnanam. So you don't say Shraddhavan Labhate Jnanam. Shraddhavang, bring a nasal sound. Same thing with gum, not gum, it's gum. Nasal sound is brought in. Having expanded this gum, the mantra also goes on to expand the bigger mantra. This is only one syllable, gum, gum, that's it. There's no more. But the expanded version of this, Om Ganapataye Namaha, to whom I pray, I give my salutations to. So here it is Ganadim Purvamuchari Varnadiim Sadanantaram Anuswara Parataraha Adde Endu Lasitam Tarena Ruddham Etattava Manuswarupam. Now we expand. Kakara Purvarupam. What is it? Kanadim Purumucharya Varnadi Sadanantaram Nusmara Parataraha Adde Endulasitam Tarena Ruddham Etattava Manuswarupam Kakara Purvarupam Akaro Madhyama Rupam Anuswarascha Antya Rupam Binduruttara Rupam Nadasandanam Sagumhita Sandhihi Shaisha Ganesha Vidya Ganaka Rishihi Nisrit Gayatri Chandaha Ganapatir Devata Om Ganapataye Namaha. This mantra is attributed to a rishi called Ganaka Rishi. I'm not sure whether Ganaka was his name or it is got this name because he came up with this Ganapataye Namaha. And it has a meter. Nisrit Chanda, Chandas meter. Let me read this. Ganadin Chart. Kakara Purva Rupam, Akaro Madhyama Rupam, Anusvarascha Antya Rupam, Binduruttara Rupam, Nadasandanam, Sagumhita Sandhihi, Shaisha Ganesha Vidya, Ganaka Rishihi. So, Gakara Purva Rupam. Explained that Ga starts with Ga, Purva Rupam. Akaro, Gakara is the first. Akara is Madhyama Rupam. Anuswara Sha Antya Rupam. So, we have a Makara and the Chandra Bindu together. Anuswara is Makara and Bindu Uttara Rupam. Then, when you say this, there is an extension called Nada. Nada Sandhanam, Sagumhita Sandhihi, and these are all pronounced together. Om Ganapataye Namaha. This mantra is the full mantra, including the Nada, is pronounced together. Here is expanding Nakara, Akara, Makara, Nuswara, and Bindu. But it is pronounced together as one single syllable. What he is saying in the previous mantra, more or less the same thing is said. This is used again for remembering Parameshwara in the form that we are praying to. Now, sometimes sound is a much more powerful means for us to remember. In fact, Om itself is called Shabda Pratika. You don't write Om, right? It's not a visual, Om is not a visual representation. It's a sound representation. In the West has also been, scientists have been working on this to see what is the primordial sound called Om, from which everything seems to have come. It's a sound symbol. So when we use this Ganapataye Namaha, it's again a sound symbol for us only, other than the visual symbol that we work with. Visual symbol is all of that, the form that we have for Lord Ganapati, a sound symbol. Ganapataye Namaha. Expanded on that. And then goes on to say, Shaisha Ganesha Vidya. In that chanting, he says Ganesha Vidya. Yes, that's also good, but I will probably Patabhe them. Because the one that we have seen says Ganesha Vidya. The one more variation we saw. Where was that? Tam Mooladhara Sthitos Nityam. In the chanting, the Mooladhare Sthitos Nityam. Actually, it is because it is locative, is used the split it and use the seventh case. But in the Samasa's complete compound, it is Mooladhara Sthitos Nityam. Now, the person who chanted is that Chelikeri brothers, in Hyderabad. who have chanted many of these mantras and done a wonderful job. Certainly the Rudram is one of the best I've heard. So I don't want to say that they are wrong, but we go by what is available to us in the form of mantras in standard sources. Okay, we will continue this discussion on Om Ganapataye Namaha. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti
Shanti. Hari Om. Hari Om, Swami. Namaskar.